Nate, that was amazing. Really, so many things that come to my mind that I had written down. I'm super excited to be able to ask you a couple questions. The things that impact, and we've had a variety of speakers that have been on the money wheel, and that money wheel, that constant pursuit of more and bigger and better. What came to my mind is a contrast. I was teaching a class back in, I can't remember, 05, 04, 05, and we had this little scrawny kid come to the class, and might have been 30 years old, and he wrote his email down, and it was his name only at google.com. And so when I met with him, I said, well, so how early were you? And he said, I'm inside of the first 30 employees.
Wow.
So obviously you can imagine. And one of the things that I really learned from him, and I get out of your stories, is like, he says, I don't chase money. He says, I chase impact and contribution.
Yeah.
And so speak to that. How did you get recentered? Was it just through the work in the foundation? Was it through the story of the little girl that was burned? But you set in motion a very powerful sequence where you talk about meaning, purpose, and vision.
Yeah.
I mean, it's identical to what we described early on, that without that you're a rudderless ship. So what was the turning point for you?
Well, I think there were little milestones. I don't think, I certainly think one of the quotes that I always come back to in life is, we obey pain. And so I think one of the biggest turning points was just simply the pain of the divorce, and losing one of the most important things to me, and that was this kind of identity of being a family man. And I've had to generate kind of a new dream of who I am as a family man now. But it was little things along the way. And I'll say one thing, the doctors and nurses that work in public health care settings, and I'm sure there are doctors everywhere that behave like this. And the ones that I've found in public health, they're so humbling. And then now you also have to deal with that they get MBAs and all these things. It's not just enough that they're like these, state-of-the-art doctors. They also have to come into our realm and show us what's up with business knowledge as well. So it was really humbling to be around them and see their commitment, how hard they were willing to work, and some of the most extreme circumstances.
You're still a very driven guy. And
yeah.
So how did you rechannel that desire for more into that desire for impact?
I think the drive just, the energy just got shifted. So Walter, we spent a lot of time riding bikes together, taking on big challenges. And so I'm a pretty energetic guy, you know that. And so it was just simply, where am I going to focus my aim? And I think that was some of the big change. And certainly some of these monumental books like Man's Search for Meaning, or How Will You Measure Your Life, and some of these became kind of like little Bibles to me. And I just started studying them day in and day out. And now you can also watch YouTube and Les Brown, Tony Robbins. There's some of these folks that I just started studying day in and day out to help me find my center.
You bring something up that you've taught me, and so I was going to do a bike race last summer with kind of an older guy, and I was tasked with the responsibility of making sure that he got off the mountain in one piece. Nate heard about that, and he said, how can I help? And I said, well, you can ride with us. And so if I can just kind of describe cycling for a minute, this was a very intense mountain bike race, and I'm OK Fitness. Nate is more like a pro racer. And so to have him as part of the squad was amazing. But as is a byproduct of that. I think it was one of the most memorable days of my life relative to the camaraderie of what it means to be of service to another human being.
Yeah.
And so you've given me that gift, and it continues because, you know, we're all on lockdown with COVID. We're not really going anywhere. So this band of 4, 5, 6 guys, you know, twice a week, we get out and we do our thing, and our fearless leader is right over to my right there, Nate, and who could be doing a million other things, riding with a whole different level of guys that aren't us because we're a little older, a little slower. But talk about just, you've shifted so dramatically
Yeah.
in how you are and how you show up, and that impact ripples really throughout.
Well, Walter, thanks for all your kind words. And, you know, the year before, what was it, 2018, a friend of mine rode for another guy at that mountain bike race, the Leadville 100. And he's a very advanced rider. This other guy is not. And he shepherded him all day. And it took them, they missed the cutoff. They were at like 12 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. And I looked at my buddy that day and I said, there is no way in hell you could pay me enough money to ever do that. And then all of a sudden the next year, there's this opportunity to go with you guys and be your shepherd. And it turned out to be one of the best days of my life. And there's just something funny about life in that way, and that oftentimes I think somewhere along the line, the American dream started to be sold as comfort. And it was all about just becoming happy. And I think that's an illusion. It's like the story of Pinocchio, you know, where they try to take him off to that amusement park. And he basically becomes an ass, right? Like he almost becomes the jackass. And I think in life, I'm just realizing more and more that where true, enduring states of feeling good come in serving others, and that's where fulfillment comes in. And I think when you can start driving your life, and even if you're a very driven person, to be focused on meaning versus happiness. When things like your dad dies, that's not a happy moment, you know, like, but you can be fulfilled as you're sitting there and still being of service. So it's just a way, in my opinion, what I've realized in my life is it's just become a way better aim. And the more that I aim at that target versus these targets of, you know, fun, everything gets better. And then even going out and suffering for 12 hours with my buddies and changing flat tires and all that kind of stuff, it becomes joyful. You know what I mean? Like it's really the joy and the inevitability of hard times.
There's something else that occurs as you have that conversation, because another gift that you've given me is the depth of a relationship. And you know, when you look at wealth and money creation, and we running around the community, we all know a lot of people. I know a lot of people, but do you know them well? And how many of those? And I had somebody reach out to me the other day, and he's like, hey, I'm calling to check in, and I want you to know I really want to know you better.
Wow.
And I was so taken back by that. Like,
yeah.
Do you want to sell me something? Am I selling you something? I mean, it was the typical, is it a,
Who
he
are
says,
you?
no,
Yeah.
I want to just, I'm checking in. And so I just want to compliment you on that's another byproduct of, as we embark on this impact.
Yeah.
And we have this shared vision that community piece has been incredible. So I want to thank you for that. What is that? What does that mean to you?
I think part of what I hear is just one of the gifts that you and I have is the challenges of doing these really long mountain bike and road rides and races. And I think one of the things that's shown me over life is just the camaraderie that can be built and the different level of relationship that can be built when you're up to a challenging task with someone. And I just think it's a gift. I wouldn't have it any other way. So I dearly appreciate being able to go, take on new big challenges with my buddies, and that they have the same mindset of how do we grow together. I mean, that's all those activities do.
Talk about the Kilimanjaro trip. I know that it got canceled this year.
Yeah.
I was super fascinated around that and how. Tell me about that.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned earlier, the expanse of our healthcare system goes all the way across the valley. 3 mental health hospitals, 13 clinics, acute care hospital, first level 1 trauma center in the valley, the largest teaching program if you include nurses, first responders, resident doctors. But one of the things that we're most well known for is the Arizona Burn Center. And we set a goal this year of taking 10 to 15 burn survivors to go summit Mount Kilimanjaro. Unfortunately, with COVID, it got pushed to 2021. But our team was called Courage Rising. The hashtag was Rise Together. And it was really meant to be more than, which it's already huge that these folks are willing to go and summit Kilimanjaro, but it was really about showing the burn survivor community and also our community as a whole what you can do when you rise together. And so it was really meant to exemplify what happens when you pull a group together and set your aim high.
Well, I mean, that's incredible. Well, any parting thoughts for what you like to say based on your journey?
That's the hot seat. I would say get involved with something. I mean, I would absolutely love if you want to get involved with our foundation. We're starting a campaign to help build our new burn center. We've got lots of expansions of our graduate medical education program that we're going to be helping fund, our family learning centers, which teach health literacy. So a little shameless plug there for what we're up to. But really, honestly, the world needs all of us to dream bigger and to go take massive action on whatever it is that's important to you, whether that's animals or expanding technology and race cars. I love what we do. I'd love to be a part of anyone that wants to join us and just get out there and be a part of moving the ball down the field, I'd say is my parting hope for us all.
Nate, thank you for being here and being with us.
Thank you, Walter.